So we're here with Mrs. Dorothy Fauntroy, and we are in her lovely home and here in the district, and we're having a conversation about her life with her husband, and some of the challenges she's had, some of her goals and aspirations, and finally maybe catching up our community on what's happening right now with her and her family. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So thanks again for having us here, the Washington Informer. As you know, I'm Kevin McNeir, I'm the editor. And I think we were just talking about your husband's activism. A lot of people know him with maybe one of his hats, maybe as pastor or maybe a congressman, but there are so many hats he wore. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, yes. He was involved in groups of organizations, many organizations. SCLC, MICO, RLA, SCLC, any number of things. I can't even remember all of that stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
But not only in this city, but around the world. Africa, Haiti. He even went to Libya. And I would describe him as an activist. He was not only just a pastor, but I think even from day one, it was his desire to
Front door.
make this world
Front door.
a better place for everybody, regardless
Front
of race, creed, color, religion. And that's why he was always going around, when something came up, he said, I'm going, there. And I knew that nothing could hold him back.
Okay.
That was his life.
Sure. You told me earlier before we started the interview that you were from Petersburg.
Right.
So your first impression when you met him, you said you met at Virginia Union.
Right, we
When
were
you-
freshmen.
So two freshmen.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Right.
you were smitten with him, as they say.
Well, we were on our way to church. I was walking with some other student girlfriends, and he and several guys were walking behind us, and they caught up with us and introduced themselves. And they had bald heads because they had joined the Kappa fraternity,
All right.
and they would always just mess their hair up. It's like rolled here, like that. So they would have to shave the head so that the hair could grow back even. And I said, who is that little bald head guy? But that was how we met.
All right.
And after that, I noticed that he had this beautiful tenor voice. And he joined the choir at Virginia Union. And the director tried to get me into the choir. And I said, no, I can't do that, because I was working at the time on campus during my free periods in the public relations office. And I said, and even that, I couldn't do it anyway, because they were gone 2 weeks in the spring. They had two tours, one in the spring and one in the fall.
Okay.
And they were gone 2 weeks each time.
Oh.
And I said, oh no, that's too long to come back and try to catch up with your work. No, I gotta get out of here.
Okay. So I wonder. Finish up school. You moved to D.C. How would you compare what life was in those early days when you first came here, and now Washington has become for a while Chocolate City. To hear Cornel West talk about it, it's pseudo chocolate now because of so many other people coming in. But how would you compare D.C. in terms of generationally?
One thing I do not like, these high rises.
Okay.
I do not like it. Maybe some do, but I just don't like it. I think they're trying to make it look like New York, some of those other larger cities. And and it's displacing a lot of African Americans with the utilities and the prices of housing going up, and people who cannot afford that will be forced to leave.
So the lack of affordability, affordable housing is
Right.
something that concerns you?
Yes.
Okay.
And because if you can't pay, you have to get out. And I know that's what has happened in Harlem
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Yeah.
There are very few African Americans living there now. And in fact, the lady who used to check on my aunt when she was sick in Brooklyn, she had a house in Georgia. And she told me, she said, I've got to get out of here because I just can't afford this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going on back down to Georgia. And that's what she did.
Okay.
So, and it seems to me the same thing is happening here.
Now, this home that you're in now, you moved in here in what year?
1962.
And have you seen significant transition within your own neighborhood?
Yes.
Yeah. So your old neighbors have moved, or they're
Well,
deceased, or couldn't afford it, or what were the circumstances as you see them?
Yeah, I think some of them have moved. Others have died, and I guess their children decided to sell the house rather than to stay there. They decided they don't want to live there. They want to sell the house, and that's probably what's going on too.
I know that we've written some things in the paper. There's been great conversation and concern about your husband's welfare and whereabouts. You've spoken with your husband,
Yes.
and how was that conversation? Were you encouraged by it? Were you concerned? How did you feel after the conversation?
Yeah, I was encouraged. The last time I spoke with him was in February, and well, he's called several times, and he always says, this project that I'm working on is not working out like I thought it was going to be, and I'll probably be home next month. Next month came in no Walton, and but I wasn't really worried about it. I was concerned, but not worried, because I have a strong faith in God, and I've always done that. When he's traveling, I pray for him, I pray for his safety, and that's what I've done this time. Because worry only makes you sick,
Right. Yes.
and I feel that if I get sick, who's going to run this house? Who's going to run the household?
Mm-hmm.
So I told my parishioners at church, I said, I gave this to the Lord like I always do. I said, I feel that the Lord has taken care of me over the years. I said, he brought me through that colon cancer. I had 2 surgeries in 2004. One in April and one in December. And if he brought me through that, I know he's going to take care of me.
Certainly can do
Right.
more, abundantly more, as
Right.
they say.
Mhm.
Sure.
So I just, whenever I go through any kind of tragedies or whatever, I just give it to the Lord. People say, oh, you're a strong person. I said, well, I guess maybe I am.
So I know women don't want to tell their age, but how young are you now?
80, I'll be 81
Yeah.
in July.
And this is a question I always like to ask. 'Cause my mother is 87 now.
Okay.
I kind of take care of her, split with duties with my sister. So when you look back on your life, is there one moment, whether it was good or bad, one moment that just comes to mind always, and you just look at it and say, wow, I remember that time because of whatever reason. It was a powerful moment, or it was a exciting moment. Are there moments like that just come to your mind often when you reflect?
Yeah, there are several things that, tragedies that have come up. And I can think back when I was 5 years old. And this is the reason I said I believe the Lord takes care of me. My sister and brother had gone on to school. It was like around this time of the year. And I was sitting on the porch, and these two men came down the sidewalk and said, "Little girl, come go with us." And I didn't move. Then they said, "We'll buy you some ice cream." And I still didn't move.
Mm.
And then they said, "We'll bring you back." And the minute they said, "I'll bring you back," I guess in a child's mind, you're thinking it's okay to go. I stood up, and just at that moment, my mother said, "Dorothy, come get your breakfast."
Mm.
Just at that moment that I stood up. And I went in the house, and I said, "These two men wanted to take me to get some ice cream." She said, "Oh no, don't you ever go with anybody you don't know, because people steal children sometimes." And I remember after I got older, I thought about that. And I said, that had to have been the Lord. Because it was just like,
Right. The
That's
moment
what-
you stood up,
the
she called.
minute I stood up, she said, "Dorothy," like that. And I've had a lot of things like that that has happened to me. An accident on the highway. I was driving with my aunt and uncle coming from Brooklyn, New York, going down to Petersburg. And those old cars did not have seat belts in them at that time. And I was sitting in the back seat. My aunt was sitting in the passenger seat. And when we got to the turnpike, the fog was so thick, they had flashed a light up there saying, "Drive 35 miles an hour." And lo and behold, this man plowed into the back of our car. And he hit the car so hard that it broke the lock on the suitcases in the back.
Mm.
My head went up like this. This part of my face hit the top like that. And the seat, passenger seat, broke and fell back on my knees. If that hadn't happened, my aunt would have gone straight through the windshield. And my uncle told me, he said, "You screamed so loud, I was afraid to look back. I thought it had snapped your neck."
Mm-hmm.
But I had to use
Neck brace.
neck brace, the heat lamp, and for the longest, I had to just do this when I got up in the morning. I had to lift my head up like that. And I just said, that had to have been the Lord
Yes.
that saved us. You know, we could have been dead. And it's just several things that have happened to me. I said any number of them, and I said I knew it had to be the Lord.
Yeah. You talk about the Lord and your faith, and part of that, I guess, also in terms of your concerns, or you're not being worried about your husband. With speculation about how is he, and is he mentally competent? Is he physically okay? What would you, in a short statement, just say to those who ask those kinds of questions or had those kinds of concerns? What would you say to them?
Yes, I believe he's me. I didn't pick up anything, or when he talked to me, you know, he sounded like he always sounded. I don't know how he has talked with some other people, but he sounded fine to me.
Without him, you and your family,
Well,
is it a struggle emotionally, financially? You know, is it how you doing, as they say?
yeah, well, we are getting some help from our friends, the church, and our friends, and which I appreciate so much, very much, because they didn't have to do it really, you know, and but it's not a struggle. And look, and when I was growing up, my mother, I don't know, I probably was a very serious child. And I was about 10 years old, and I used to say, come on, you all, we're going to have prayer service tonight. And my father would say, did you hear what she said? And they would come, we'd gather around in a little circle, we'd get out the Bible and the hymn book, and everybody in the family sang. I had a soprano voice. My sister had an alto voice. My brother had a baritone voice, and my mother had a soprano voice. Father had a bass voice.
Yeah, I used to tease my family, call it the Black Von Traps, you know, from The Sound of Music, because we all sang too.
Is that right?
It was always fun. And when you say,
Yeah.
it's funny, I don't know, did you ever switch parts, like when you were growing up?
No.
I don't know, because see, I was a tenor when I was a little boy.
Okay, yeah.
And then
you
my
sound
voice,
like you could
and
be,
so then I became a bass. So I sang the two parts. I was just asking that y'all used to have fun playing different parts or something. I don't know.
No, they just sang their part.
They
I
sang
said,
it, and you
"Come on."
sang yours?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
What's your favorite hymn?
Oh, I got so many. I don't think I have a favorite one. Great is Thy Faithfulness is one. That's
Okay.
one of mine.
That sounds like that would fit you appropriately.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And God will take care of you. My mother used to sing that all the time around the house. God will take care of you. And she told me, she said, you must gonna be a minister or you're gonna marry one. Now, isn't that?
Wow, she was a prophet too then, huh?
And I said, must have been something she saw. And when I met Walter and he told me he had done his trial sermon at 17,
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh, look what she put on me.
Have you asked him to come home?
Yes, I asked him each time he said, oh, I haven't finished what I got to do, so I'll probably be next month. And that's when I just said, okay, you know, like that.
Because
Try not to worry.
because God will take care of you, and great is your faithfulness, right?
That's right. Great is that faith. Y'all want me to sing for you?
Yeah.
Anytime you can, certainly.
You can use it right now.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Well, I really appreciate this time with you, and we'll do our due diligence to communicate what we've heard by the video and in the written word. But our prayers continue to be with you and your husband and family. And you know he's an institutional legend, and you're part of both that institutional legend. So it's an honor to be here with you today.
Thank you so much.
And
I'd like to
blessings.
have you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
indeed.
All right.
Alrighty. Now, Denise,
Yes.
I think you need to sing.
No, oh no. Sing? Sing? You'll never have me back. You'll say that's the last time I'll have you back in my life.